dealing with a relatively less important area, but of course very important. Like just like what you say, just like the backbone of a human person, or just like what you say, a crucial bolt of a boat. Naturally, that would be that area, that is the compulsory papers of UPSC. You know very well that in mains examination we have 4 GS papers. We have an optional subject. Of course, that may be any optional subject, that may be a literature option or maybe a subject option like sociology, public administration, or whatever. Naturally, we have two compulsory papers with regard to UPSC. One is the English paper and the other is the regional language paper. When we take people from Kerala, of course it is Malayalam naturally, and for those people from other southern states, it is their own respective regional language. We haven't seen anybody discussing in detail about these compulsory papers, but today I'm making an attempt to make you sense the importance of those compulsory papers. Many candidates never even prepare for these compulsory papers and they directly go for the mains examination, hoping that it is just a qualifying examination. And what is so a big deal with regard to compulsory papers like English language paper A and the regional language paper B? And they feel that okay, compulsory papers are not a big deal since it's just 1/3 marks, that is 33% marks out of 100%. They never consider it to be a big deal. But the reality is that it is not supposed to be taken lightly, but it's a big deal. Because, big deal in the sense, only if you have a clear understanding and if you make some minimum background preparation with regard to compulsory paper, you may literally suffer and you cannot score the marks as you expect. Reason behind, or the logic behind this, is very simple. UPSC never make the compulsory paper so easy. It may also never make the compulsory paper so tough. But UPSC always maintain a balance with regard to compulsory paper, hoping that compulsory paper should not become a bedrock or should not become a hindrance that actually makes it difficult for a good candidate to clear the examination. At the same time, UPSC never makes the compulsory paper very simple. As we stated before, when UPSC in its notification itself say every year, UPSC issues separate notification for prelims. In its notification, UPSC say that this is just a qualifying paper and a minimum understanding of the language, maybe like matriculation level understanding of the language, is sufficient to deal with this paper. Actually, understanding of the language may be of that level, but of course the paper is certainly of not of that level. But the paper has a bit more elements included in it that it qualifies to be a paper that can be definitely considered as one to be asked at the degree level or even at your +2 level. So the paper is definitely, or even at your higher secondary level. So the paper is definitely superior. And what all you should study to deal with both compulsory papers, English and Malayalam. Basic style of compulsory papers, both are more or less the same. If you take the English paper, say for example, we can say that over a period of time, right from 2012, UPSC follows a similar pattern, that there may be questions on comprehension, there may be comprehension like questions, there may be questions where you want to find out those words that are synonymous in meaning with many other words. You need to actually shorten a paragraph and write the concise or the gist of that paragraph. You are supposed to make something brief. You are supposed to answer questions on the basis of that is comprehension. That is an already given paragraph, etc. If you take all these questions, it may appear very simple, but in reality, it is not like that. Definitely, this paper is very important and candidates should definitely work on this paper. How can you work on this paper? It is very easy. If you go for any typical competitive examination, especially, I'll give an example like the UGC NET paper 1. There are a number of comprehension questions. If you go for again your CSAT, that is your prelims paper 2, there are again a number of comprehension questions. You need to start working on comprehension area, especially when you deal with your English paper. You need to familiarize yourself how to deal with, how to read English and how to handle a comprehension question, especially when it is placed in English. Because there is a problem that many of our candidates are very good in communicating in English language, but they may not be very good in understanding, especially long paragraphs may be written by an expert by using certain complex words and certain technical words with regard to English language. So naturally what happens is that when the candidate is overconfident, okay, this is just silly, he may make a lot of mistakes. And once his mistakes increase in number, his his clearance of that paper or him passing that paper becomes doubtful, and he may be performing really well in all GS 1, 2, 3, 4 and essay plus his optional papers, but only because he couldn't qualify this compulsory papers, that is English and Malayalam. If we take a Kerala students, he may fail. So let it not happen. What you should do is that you should start giving special importance, especially in this lockdown days, to these compulsory papers also, and you should do 3 things for making it familiar for you. Number 1 is that you should learn English vocabulary and you should improve your vocabulary like anything. What is the easiest strategy to learn English vocabulary? Very simple. You have the Hindu newspaper which you read every day on a regular basis, and Hindu newspaper can be read with 2 purposes. One is to understand your potential UPSC prelims and mains question, and to understand the issues that are discussed on a day-to-day basis. Number 2 is to understand the language and the word meaning of different English words that are used in Hindu newspaper. Naturally, Hindu newspaper is a high quality language newspaper, and the authors in the newspaper, if you go to the editorial page as well as the leader page article, you can find a number of excellent articles and essays written by eminent authors of the country like professors, academicians, diplomats, etc. The language used there is also of high quality, and what you should do is that you should try to keep a dictionary with you whenever you read the Hindu newspaper, and especially these pages like editorial and leader page article, and you need to underline those words which are unfamiliar for you. Please listen, you need to underline those words which are unfamiliar for you, and you need to immediately, that day itself, you need to refer to the meaning of those words. Purpose behind this is that once you build a proper vocabulary, once you make yourself familiar with a relatively good vocabulary, even if a difficult comprehension question is placed before you, you can definitely handle with that question. You can understand what the author means. Otherwise, if you don't have a proper vocabulary, imagine 3 or 4 difficult comprehension questions, 3 or 4 difficult paragraphs are placed before you to make it brief. How will you do that? You will find it extremely difficult. So your language building, language is just like building blocks. You need to build a proper language for which you need to actually build your vocabulary resource base. This is very important. If you have a good and proper vocabulary resource base, automatically, even if the paragraph that is placed, this is useful for CSAT also. Even if the paragraph that is placed before you is difficult, you can definitely handle that paragraph very easily. Imagine if you take a prelims CSAT paper, which is also qualifying now. It was not qualifying previously, but right from 2017 it is qualifying. Of course, you can understand that paragraph better, and you can understand definitely what the author means. We know very well that UPSC has a practice of giving lengthy comprehension paragraphs, and once you are practicing this regularly, and how to practice this again, whenever you read the Hindu, study minimum 10 words a day. I repeat, study 10 new words in English language a day, and once these 10 words are familiar for you, of course, you have improved in your vocabulary and you added 10 new words to your vocabulary base. This process continues repeatedly, and maybe you're getting 40 days before examination, you studied 400 to 500 words. If you're getting 100 days before the examination, you studied 1000 plus words. Naturally, when a difficult comprehension is placed before you, it may be very easy for you people to answer the same. This is one strategy. Second thing, again, as we learn swimming by stepping into water, you cannot learn swimming by reading. You need to work on previous year question papers with regard to compulsory paper 1 and compulsory regional language paper. Previous year question papers are very helpful because the pattern of question, at least from 2012, is repeating every year. Even before also, more or less the same, but 12 was a watershed where there were some changes, and that pattern is followed till 2018, or sorry, 19 probably. So naturally, you need to work seriously on previous year question papers of English language as well as your regional language. You need to work it within the prescribed time. I repeat, you need to work within the specified time, and once you work on this paper properly, you can understand that where all you go wrong and where all you become correct. I repeat, you can understand very clearly that where all you go wrong and where all you become correct. And once this understanding is developed properly, you can work on those areas where you go wrong and you can improvise on those areas. You can score a maximum
on those areas which may go wrong. Say for example, some candidates are very good in translation. Some candidates are very good in making ideas brief. Some candidates are very good in answering to a comprehension. Some candidates are very good in writing a short essay. Such type are the different types of. Some candidates are very good in understanding the word meaning of a word, any word that is given, any English word that is given to a candidate. So your ability lies in different areas of the literature of the language, and you need to identify where you are the best at, and you need to score 100%, and you need to work on those areas where you are relatively weaker. Once you do all previous year question papers at least from 2012, which means 8 question papers are with you, you are almost done, and that is not sufficient with regard to paper 1 and paper 2 compulsory papers. You need to do those papers within the prescribed time period, that is within 3 hours. You need to assess whether you are improving, and again you can depend on different works. We know very well that no workbook is available for UPSC. Paper 1 and paper 2 compulsory papers, no institute is releasing any workbook except some minimum training that is given to candidates since they are qualifying papers. You can rely on UGC NET workbooks. For paper 1, UGC NET paper 1 covers similar areas. So NET paper 1 workbooks can be used for you people for helping you out in compulsory paper 1 and paper 2. And once you work systematically in this area, I'm pretty sure that you people are ready for writing a compulsory examination, and definitely you can write that examination in such a way that you can qualify the examination. Thank you. We'll meet again with another session. Thank you.